Musty Creative, Musty Collective. Today we are welcoming Lejone Morris to the show. We're very glad to have you on today. Thank you for being on the show with us. Welcome to the Musty Creative Podcast.
Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and as a way of acknowledging the great work that you're doing, which we're going to be talking about a little later, we would like to bestow upon you the title of Musty Creative.
I humbly accept.
Yeah. And we love giving, no, not giving out this title, but again, you're definitely a creative person who's persevered, overcome challenges, and is continuing to create regardless of all those obstacles. So thank you for being a Musty Creative.
Thank you for giving me the title, having this platform. Beautiful.
Awesome.
So before we get into your business, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got to the point you're at now?
Yeah. Well, I'll do my best with that one because sometimes
Yeah.
I really don't know how I got here. And I asked myself that several times.
Yeah.
My background is in counseling. I have a counselor's heart. I think I always knew I wanted to work with young people or teenagers, So even when I was a teenager, just really had a heart for like the youth. And so when I finally decided I wanted to, work with the youth, counseling just seemed like the best way. I've always been a really great listener. I think I give good advice, but that's up to those who, hear it. And it just
Yeah.
is the perfect, mesh of like all of my personality traits and a profession. Um, but we make our plans and God laughs, and He, had a different plan in mind. So thankfully, I was able to be a counselor for a couple of years, but those were not, very fulfilling years, unfortunately. And so during the course of that time, I got sick, you know, um, yeah, just had a lot of different kind of experiences, or just left me wondering, like, is this all there is? And it really redirected me in terms of what I wanted to seek, like, out of life. And longest story ever short, made shorter. God put this in front of me. My passion for always working with, like, the marginalized, the disenfranchised, and being able to not only hear stories but tell them, and just in a process of like breaking me down and rediscovering myself, like Broken Beautiful was born.
Awesome. And actually, yeah, as we get into this new business, Broken Beautiful, how long has it been since you formed the company?
In my brain, we've been
Yeah.
running for 5 years.
Yeah,
Like,
5 years.
how it
Yeah.
is as a creative, right?
Yeah.
But
Like the
so
idea
yeah,
has been in your mind for 5 years, and you've been like, "Oh, I want to get this out." No, I understand that.
yeah, like I mean, kind of started when I was in a doctoral program. Another part of my journey,
Oh
doing
wow.
transformational leadership, and we went to Fresno to do an intensive where we got to see, like, the city officials, government, just all forms, like, of the the city work together to basically make Fresno a better place. Like, years ago, I think it was like the number one, like, crime-ridden city in California,
Oh
and they've done
wow.
such great transformative work during that time. And so I got really inspired
Yeah.
when I saw, like, we went to a coffee shop, and a lot of people who were working there were, like, ex-offenders, and they're they're thriving, they're flourishing. And I said, oh my goodness, this would be so great if I could do something like that, at home. And I've had t-shirt ideas forever. I
Yeah.
finally gotten tired of hearing them, like,
Right.
okay, that sounds great, but what are you doing about it? And so
Yeah.
but when I went to that city immersion, I just got inspired to create a social enterprise of my own, and that way I could, give back to the community, and actually be able to employ those who are coming out of prison, who are just, like, struggling to make it, and that way they can have a, viable life. So,
No,
and I've only been in business for 1 year.
for 1 year.
Technically.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's a lot longer than I thought. That's actually really cool though.
yeah, yeah. Since, like, yeah, I officially launched January of this year. But yeah, I did, like, all the prep work, because you guys know how much prep goes into it. I started getting serious about it last year.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. And when you said doctorate, so are you a doctor? You have a PhD?
No, so the
Uh,
program was it's from Boston Graduate University, and it was
mm-hmm.
a Doctor of Transformational Leadership. So they are more about urban like missiology.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got sick, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker. And I decided that at some point I took a
Mm.
leave of absence for 2 years to get well, and that just didn't happen. So I had to just make the hard decision to to end the program. I mean, I can always go
Mm.
back and resume my studies, but
Yeah.
it wasn't meant for me to push forward. This instead came on my plate, and I felt peace about deciding to move forward with building this business as opposed to completing the program. Because, like I said, being in education for all those years, I always say school will always be there, and I'm a lifelong learner. So if that doctoral program is for me or something else is, then I'll enter into that. But right now, I know this is my purpose. This is what I need to be focusing on.
Mm.
Yeah. No, that's understandable. That's understandable.
And then how did you end up leaning towards fashion? Because there are a lot of ways you could have gone with this idea of like helping people restore their lives after being imprisoned or like having these labels put on them. So I was just wondering, like, why did you choose fashion?
That's an excellent question. So, I've always been like into fashion, I guess, and I know that I personally put a lot of thought into how I put myself out there in the world. Like putting on an outfit is not just, like I'm just throw on a shirt and some sweatpants, which I love and I'm wearing right now, by the way. My favorite outfits.
Nice,
But you,
nice.
you put a lot of thought in how you present yourself into the world. And again, being not only a Black woman, but also a Christian, we were taught, we were raised to be modest, right? You don't
Mm.
go out there showing a lot of skin and this and that. And so when you think about what all goes into deciding what we're going to wear, from accessories, from head to toe, literally, it's very intentional. Um, so are the stories that we tell about ourselves. And fashion is a really great way of basically doing both. I mean, we all think about what we wear and how we show up in the world so
Mm-hmm.
often. And so we buy funny t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
We buy funny items, right? To say, oh, I love Seinfeld, which I do, or I'm into comics, and
Yeah.
we rep our favorite, we rep whatever. But I was thinking to myself, why not rep our own story? That's people love doing that, and that's why fashion I think is so popular. So yeah,
Yeah, no, that's a super good point. Like, we do put a lot of thought into what we wear, and
yeah,
then that is us telling the world a story
Mm-hmm.
visually without having to
yeah,
say any dialogue. Like, if I wear, like, I have this shirt up with Groot and Rocket from a movie called The Guardians of the Galaxy, people can be like, "Oh, that's a cool shirt. Where'd you get it
right.
from?" And then I tell this story, and I'm a fan of this movie. Yeah, so I totally get that. That's such a good point.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts conversation too, especially when you read something cool or people don't really know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Like it sparks dialogue. You don't just really say something and see something and say, "Oh, that's cool," and just keep moving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had like I had a T-shirt on, and one guy stopped me in the store and said, "Can I take a picture of that? That looks cool." And
exactly.
yeah, but also speaking of everyone has T-shirt designs idea, I just wanted to hit on that, or you mentioned that, and then a line I always like to tell Michelle lately is like, "Oh, put on a T-shirt," because you always come with these lines, and I think it's cool now with the way that production works, where in the past it would be very hard to produce your own fashion. Now the systems have progressed to a point where a lot more people can get involved. So it's kind of cool that we can create our own wear instead of having to deal with what the industry gives us.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then
You have to
so
create new business.
yeah. And then how has your own personal story shaped the messages that you convey through your clothing?
Everything I think I've produced or so far, it's just it's really personal to me. Everything from Run Your Race, and it's like it's my one of my life mottos, right? Same thing with I Woke Up. With I Woke Up today, I just got tired of just like waiting for fill in the blank, waiting
Mm.
for people pay to pay my dues and get a full-time job and wait for people to acknowledge like how creative or hardworking or whatever I am, waiting for a proposal, waiting for this, waiting for that.
Mm.
Forget about all that. I just
Yeah.
reached this place in life where I was like, no, 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 no more waiting for life to happen, to me. Like, no. No Secrets, for example, that's the first shirt I ever made,
Oh
and
wow.
that was because of my friend Merville. She just has really poured into me over the years, and just no holes barred, just the truth about being married, being a Black woman, Black
Mm.
Christian woman who struggles with depression. Just someone I can always count on to be authentically herself.
Yeah.
And I was just so inspired by that I was like, I'm going to make a shirt with the saying that she always says to me. She's like, hey, no secrets. And so
Nice.
honestly, that's how Broken Beautiful started. Yeah, just recognize that we all have a story to tell, and it's worth telling. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because I know a lot of the times it's funny because like even there are times when I know I can be insecure about my own story, but it's really cool to show like every story has value and every story is worth listening to and gaining something from because everybody is so unique and everyone has their own struggles and yet it's all universal. Like we're all dealing with the same types of things. So it's just interesting how it's like every story makes a difference to somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's so true. That's a good point.
And, as believers, we know the word says like we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the
Yeah.
word of our testimony. And so
Right.
I just really strongly feel that when we don't share our testimony, we're basically not allowing someone else to overcome.
Mm.
Like if we keep that inside, it's preventing someone else's healing and transformation, which is why this is why my company exists. My brand exists, like to be able to give people the opportunity to say, hey, there may be shame in your story, you may be still struggling with it, you may not love it, but
Yeah.
it's worth hearing and it's worth sharing.
Oh, so true. Yeah, and I think with the obviously the time that we're living in right now with the political unrest and people demanding change right now, I think overcoming is definitely something that people have to think about, right? To think about, the future and to help them to decide on their decisions for today. So yeah, no, totally agree with that.
So, what kind of like your overall message for your clothing line and the customers that you have and the people that see your brand? What kind of message do you want them to get out of it?
Yeah, to understand, I always say that who we were is less important than what we are becoming, right? Yeah,
Mm.
that's just the bottom line. Truly, we have choices to decide to either in the process of transformation, just like a butterfly. I mean, you can't stay in the chrysalis. It's just not possible. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna wrestle in there, you're gonna struggle, but it's gonna drop. You gotta get out. And so what happens when you get out? That's what we decide to choose. So I know when it comes to like, especially my own personal story and then others as well, especially those that are incarcerated, you just feel like a sense of, oh my gosh, like, is this my life though? And you
Yeah.
can choose to stay there, you can choose to own it and create something else, something beautiful out of
Yeah.
it, out of that brokenness as well. You can stay broken, but that's a choice, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I've
That's
never
true.
really seen a butterfly that doesn't know how to fly, but I don't think all of them fly as well and fly as far as they could. These are personal choices, but yeah, we decide what we want to be truly and how we want to be, and that's important. I think that I want to just really convey to people. Yeah, you can choose to stay broken, or you can choose to make something beautiful out of brokenness.
And then you said that you wanted Broken Beautiful to be a safe space for people. So, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, I'll say this. I, really hesitated from joining social media for a really long time because when I was like, younger, I struggled with comparison. And I stopped reading magazines, like fashion magazines, although I really love fashion, just because I was like, this is just not good for my own mental, wellness, health and wellness. I need to be able to focus on my own life and love it. And so when it comes to sharing, people are sharing so much online. They're oversharing a lot of times, like things they weren't asked for. And everyone feels
Yes.
the right to be able to comment on
Yeah.
everything you're doing and saying and
Yeah.
whatever. And truthfully, people are given others access to do that. If you're posting constantly, right? And I was like, I don't really need that. I don't need that in my life. I don't think it's really good for health and wellness, to be quite honest. And so, but what I'm noticing that is really missing, that's always been missing, is authenticity,
Mm.
vulnerability, and so very rarely will you see someone post a picture of them like, crying, snot faced, like
Mhm.
this is the worst day of my life. Like everything just seems to be so well curated. Like, oh, look at me and Bay and my beautiful ice cream and this and that. And like, and those are moments in life, yes, but that's not life. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, not in its totality. And so I think it's important for people to be able to show up in their space and say, yeah, like, hey, things are sucking right now. I'm dealing with infertility, depression, this racism. I'm upset, like, I'm angry, and to be able to give voice to those things, and like, and it's all good. No one's gonna, judge you for it. No one's gonna like castigate you for it. Yeah, there's safety in numbers, but there's also, I feel like, safety in just being able to the truth tell
Hmm.
the truth without fear of reprisal. So that's what I mean by that.
Mhm. And then, what do you think why is it important for? Let me start that over. Like stumbling on my words.
Edit.
This is live. We're streaming live, everybody.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
I pushed the
I hope
button,
not.
so.
You want to ask the next?
All right. So, why do you think it's important to employ Lejeune? Why do you think it's important to employ, you know, those with colorful histories? I remember I was reading through some of your answers with your brand and understanding what your brand is to be, and you mentioned that you want to set up like a social enterprise. You want to reach out to those who've been affected by the justice system, and
Right.
employ them. Like, why do you think that's important?
Because everyone deserves a second chance. And I think
Mm.
there's just still surprisingly so much stigma surrounding those who have served time. I mean,
Mm.
like, they literally have served their time, they've paid their debt to society, and they're out. And
Yeah.
yet there's still blocks to them, being able to start a new life. It's personal to me because I've served alongside and I've volunteered along people, and I've gone to church and done life with those who they have that in their past and they're thriving. They're doing phenomenal work. They're literature evangelists, they're pastors, they're
Mm.
business owners,
Yeah.
like CEOs, entrepreneurs as well. And so if opportunities keep on being, they're being prevented continuously from having those opportunities, we're basically just trying to not only kill their spirit, but kill their lives, kill their livelihoods. And
Yeah.
that's why it's so important for me. Because again, like, why wouldn't we give people a second chance? As a believer, I believe in reconciliation. I believe in restoration, and to be an agent of that is very important. So that's why they're my focus and my target, because they just seem to have so many more barriers, especially after getting out. You would think that's when a new life would begin. And just, yeah, it's hard to cross those hurdles without help.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I could see us talking for like another hour about this subject, about reconciliation and forgiveness. And, you know, I myself has still struggled with the stigma of, working alongside people who have been in the justice system. Like, it's not something that we talk enough about in America, that we understand enough, where it was like, well, can we trust them, and blah, blah, blah. But the whole point of rehabilitation is that they can come back into society. So
Right.
that's a super good point. I think it permeates not just like people in prison, but I think I've seen it permeate in fiction and in pop culture and in the media, of how we portray these individuals
Mhm.
when they come out, or if they've done something, there's nothing they can do to reconciliate that, to come back and have some kind of small life to themselves that they can own in a free society. So it's a huge topic, and I think it's great that you want to do this, because that is one of the biggest hurdles. If you want to come back into society and have your own, just have your own life, you need a job. And
Mhm.
I think that's one thing that people don't understand. Like, you want these people to come back and to be, people who help and contribute positively to society, but you won't hire them. I mean, what do you expect
Mhm.
them to do?
Exactly. And, and when I worked as a counselor at Trade Tech, I think that's when I had my aha moment, because I saw
Mm.
they have a large reentry population. And I noticed they were coming out. There were so many barriers to what kind of programs they would pursue. However, the staff there are so committed to finding them trades, or finding them, different kinds of careers that wouldn't, their background wouldn't be an issue. And it's even less, so now because of like the different laws that have been implemented.
Yeah.
But when you're able to get a job and find a new profession or even become an entrepreneur, work for yourself, like
Hmm.
you're opening up new doors of possibilities. Education and support, it makes all the difference.
Oh yeah.
And not everyone can come out and be Martha Stewart, but that's the goal. That's the hope.
Well, yeah, and that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
It felt like it was like a benefit for her to go to prison, but that's a whole nother subject. I'm sorry.
For another
I
day,
got
absolutely. I've got a lot to say on that too.
yeah. That's a whole nother subject, but um, but are there other areas of this or other industries that you hope to explore in the future when it comes to your purpose for Broken Beautiful?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started out, I've always admired Homeboy Girl Industries, like
Mm,
Father Craig Boyle, and Prison Fellowship.
yeah.
Volunteered in the prisons for them. So my initial goal was to kind of have the both meet, have the two meet, and that's what Broken Beautiful would be. I'd love to, at some point have my own, like, I love food, so my
Yeah.
sister's a great cook, so why not, have a cafe, have a space, like, and just have a creative space where
Hmm.
people can come, you can eat, you can, like, have poetry, do all of that, be able to tell share extra stories and
Yeah.
talent. So maybe in the future, hopefully, but if that doesn't happen, that's fine. Just as long as, truthfully, my goal is to be able to have enough, like, have enough resources to provide education and holistic transformation, be it like mental health counseling. And my resources are the people that I know, as
Hmm.
and the years in the industry, education, and people I've met. Folks are so willing to give back and give their expertise and their time. So if people are the greatest resource, then to have these people at others' disposal, those have just come out and need that hand holding to navigate back into society, then I'll be happy. Mhm.
That's
That's my
awesome.
job.
And I definitely think like a store like that where people can come in and relax and not be because I would like that place to have been Starbucks, but I always feel this pressure to buy something. And if you have good Wi-Fi and plenty of open ports to plug into like power ports, that would be
Simple.
awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, we've actually
So
been
noted.
like brainstorming that idea of like, is there a place we can open to like just a creative space for the community to come in
Yeah.
and just be themselves and work on things and then eventually like network just because you're all in that space together. So
Yeah.
that's been something that we've been talking about doing actually.
Yeah.
Oh, do it. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, from the business perspective, it's like how can it be self-sustaining, right?
Hmm.
That's
You'd have to sell coffee, I guess.
well, I just don't want to feel the pressure because when you go, all of us as creatives have had to work in Starbucks at some points, right? Like doing some typing and whatnot. Um,
Right.
and yeah, so I just think it'd be really cool to have a place like that. So
Oh, I
yeah,
hope that happens for you guys. That's so
well,
great.
I hope it happens for you first.
We'll just start working at your cafe
Yeah,
once you.
exactly, exactly.
Gotcha. I'll add that to the long to-do list. Yes,
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure.
Oh, one thing I was going to ask because usually there are in photo shoots and like when people are trying to advertise their clothing, they usually
Mhm.
choose the thin rail models, usually Caucasian, usually like super beautiful and like tons of makeup, tons of Photoshop. But one thing that I really appreciated about the things that you were showing, like through your photos and your the people that you choose to model your clothing,
Mhm.
they're very real people. Like they're like you don't have to look at them and feel like I'll never add up to that kind of a thing. Like because it's not this weird photoshopped like unrealistic image. It's just real people like me. So I like when I was seeing all of the photos of the models. Um, it felt good. It felt welcoming. It felt like I could be
Oh,
a part of that. So I just really appreciated that. And I was just wondering if that was really intentional when you were doing that or it just happened to be that way.
and very intentional.
Mhm.
Um, all the models are people that I know. They're all my friends because my friends really are some of the most beautiful people that I know. And
Mhm.
it's more about their beauty inside, just and for me, it's curated images, like, that perfectly crafted look. it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm trying to show up, authentically in this space and tell people like, hey, you're welcome as you are, this is how we are. I'm sure we slap on some makeup sometimes because there's lighting issues, but for
Yeah.
the most but for the most part, I wanted people to be able to say, as you've said, oh, hey, that's me, because that can be you. If you have
Mm-hmm.
a story to tell and you're willing to share it, slap on this shirt and
Yeah.
smile, and you can be a model as, yeah, this is not, this is not for the gram. This is not for social media. This is to invite other people and to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, you're welcome. Yeah, this is your story. It's for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's so important because I feel like a lot of, like, I mean, you were talking about this earlier, but just the unrealistic expectations that Instagram has on people and just like modeling and advertising, it can cause a lot of mental health issues and just like never being able to add up and not feeling good enough. And so I think it's really important what you're doing and that everyone has the ability to shine and look beautiful because they're being themselves, like their true selves. They're not trying to just mimic somebody else that they've seen. I think that's really awesome.
Thank you.
So when we talk about brands, artists, and businesses, where do you gain inspiration from when it comes to creating a shirt? I think you noted that the first one, like no secrets, came from a conversation with a friend. But are there other places of inspiration when you're creating your shirts?
A lot of like my shirt, like slogans and ideas have just come out of conversations, to be
Mm-hmm.
quite honest. I mean, this is a story I should share. So the name Broken Beautiful, it came out of a conversation with my sister. I was
Oh.
last year I had a whole new concept, whole different concept in mind for what I wanted, like my logo, my slogan to be. Spent quite a bit of money getting it done, and I hated it.
Oh
Like,
wow.
hated it.
Oh
I was like, I
wow.
can't put this out in the world, like at all. I was so disappointed.
Oh,
And so you said what?
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, this is delayed. And so my sister and I were talking, and so she's the brain, she's the financial brains all the time. Money, money, money. How are
Mm.
we gonna make money, monetize this? Not so much. So she's always broke. Everyone's always like, oh, Lejeune, you're so sweet, but you're always broke. You're just giving everything away. You're
Mercy.
so generous, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so I'm that girl now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the girl that's pretty, but she's always broke. It's a running joke, which is fine. Again, no shame in my game. It's my story. But
Yeah.
she was like, my sister literally was like, yeah, you're broke and beautiful. And I was like, oh, that's it.
Mercy.
I was like, I wonder if that's taken. So broke and beautiful was actually taken, the domain name. But I was like,
Dot
no, it's
com.
more than that. It's broken, like or broken beautiful. So I looked it up, like, it's available. And it
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Nice.
And thus, a company was born.
Yeah. You always gotta check the domain name first. And so that's brokenbeautiful.com, correct?
Yeah. And then we changed up a little bit to the BU because that's important too. Yeah.
Mm.
I also own that. Yeah.
Oh,
Broken.
okay, for short links.
Yeah. Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Very smart, very smart. So just
Thank
go right
you.
now, guys. Musty Collective, go right now to brokenbeautiful.com. There's a 30% discount on the merch right now today. So no, it's like I just she's like, what are you talking about? Don't play with my money. Don't be
Anything can happen. That's all good.
put in code Musty right now.
I love
Musty and
that.
beautiful.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. No, that's super cool though. And that's I love those kind of conversations. I think like Musty Creative had the same kind of conversation too. So I also had a friend. He was creating his own company and he spent I think thousands of dollars and he was having trouble as well with the name that they were bringing to him. So I find it's probably better to just have a conversation and have a
Yeah.
name that comes that you feel is right and you're passionate about.
Absolutely. And I know what I was telling other friends about it. And we're like, yeah, broke and beautiful. Okay, ha ha ha. But one particular friend said, like, no, your name is inspired. So I was like, I knew it. I picked the right one after he said that. It
Yeah.
resonates.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
So in the, I think we talked about a little bit about your future plans. But are there any other future plans that you'd like to talk about with Broken Beautiful? you have your 5-year plan? Well, give me your pitch right now. No.
My 5-year plan. My last 5 years have been bananas. So I have, all plans that I make, I hold on to loosely. I mean, I do.
Hmm.
People that know me know that I'm really passionate about exercise. It
Hmm.
took me what, how many years to lose about like 35 pounds. I
Hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
it. I knew I needed to get healthy, and so it's been a journey, and it was a
Uh-huh.
slow one. So having like a workout line is very important for me. Just yeah, because yeah, working out is important. Of course, it's
Yeah.
also the inner work, the work in, as we
Right.
call it,
Right.
as well. So the mental health initiatives and awareness
Hmm.
is very important to me. My very first post on Instagram, I did mention I was at a rally in a health and detention center to
Hmm.
free the kids that are in cages. I am an immigrant. I'm was born and raised in Jamaica, so
Oh, you
the
were?
immigrant experience, yes,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Don't let the Valley Girl accent fool you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like
Jamaica,
the accent is,
sorry.
is the accent's perfect. I would never guess.
Surprises, right?
Yeah.
So telling the immigrant story is very important to me because again,
Mm.
I've seen how hard immigrants like my mom and others have worked to be able to make a life here, and then at every turn, opportunities are being taken away. So now that we're coming upon a very important election time, but even more so than that, just the immigrant experience and their livelihoods are being challenged.
Mm.
That's, I think, a next step, not a 5-year plan. This is a now plan to be able to give voice to those who are still struggling with, the broken legal system, immigration system, and give voice to their experience because they're thriving. So I hope to do some partnerships very soon with those who are doing the work and fighting the good fight along those who are, be undocumented or also marginalized. So that's coming soon, I hope.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and this is that's what I like about your brand. It's very authentic. It tells a lot of people's stories, everyone's stories, and it doesn't feel like again, if I see an ad for Gucci or something else, I don't feel like I'm a part of that. Um,
Me either.
and so I definitely like where you're doing. I mean, even FUBU back in the day. I mean, I never felt fully a part of that either. So it's like, but I feel like I could be a part of Broken Beautiful. That's awesome.
I love that. Here, thank you. Yeah,
Oh yeah, of course.
it's resonating.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So, is there a specific story of yours that you're dying to tell?
Mm.
Of mine, um, well, first I'll start with the story that I want to tell. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's a young man from my church, Isaiah Tamaso Lee, and he was actually willing to model for me in my first photo shoot last November. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it, and I think less than a couple weeks later, he was jailed. He made a terrible mistake,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
a fatal mistake, unfortunately, and then now he's currently incarcerated. And
Mm.
so I'm looking forward to being able to share his story in his own words. Again, his mother and I and his family, we all go to the same church, and I want to tell his story correctly and do it justice. And it's still,
Mm-hmm.
it's still raw and it's still fresh. It's a very sensitive issue. However, he is, let's say was, he is truly one of the best young men that I know. And his story, it just kind of mirrors a lot of people's stories. Life is just going a certain way and you make a mistake or you make a misstep and then your life changes,
Mm.
but it's not over. And so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to when he's out and he can share his own story with the world through Broken Beautiful. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's the one I'm looking forward to telling the most at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, usually, when we ask this question, and it's not bad, but people usually answer from like a story they want to tell. It's beautiful. You want to tell someone else's story. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait till he's out.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. We have a couple more questions, and then we'll definitely let you go. But and thank you so much for your time. Obviously, you're busy. You're a founder. You're a CEO. You're running things. So thank you so much for your time. But is what else can we expect from you in the near future? Are there any other projects you have coming along the pipe?
I think what I want to do is on a personal level. Your brand is supposed to add value to the world. I mean, you're always told you're supposed to solve a problem.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I don't know what problems a t-shirt solves. The question that I'm constantly wrestling with. But what I know that I do well is give encouragement, and really listen to others. And so I'd like to be able to create a resource just based on my own, experiences and like listening to people's stories and encouraging and put that out there in the world. So I hope to be able to release that at some point. I don't know what format. People have been telling me forever I should have my own podcast. I don't know how you guys do what you do.
Do it. You should do it.
Yeah, camera and this and that. I just that's a fair point.
Yeah.
But we'll see. How I show up in that space, how I creatively get that done. Whether it is a book or or a podcast, not a TV show. I don't know what any of that. But
yeah,
I feel strongly about that though. Just empowering other people and really guiding them with how to really listen, how to be present, and how to encourage others, because it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, I know I personally struggled with, I'm not a creative, I'm not like, I really did struggle with that. Like, I don't feel like I'm creative. I can't draw, I can't paint. I wish I had brain like Elon Musk and, the Jeff Bezos to create something that's going to make me money while I sleep,
Right.
But,
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to work on it. But just not really feeling like what I did had value or I could monetize it. We hear so much about that, but
yeah.
These days I just feel really more, I want to say just sure that what I do, who I am has value. Even if I can't put a price tag on it. And so the best of who I am and what I have, I need to be able to put out there, and it's gonna be valuable to someone. So if I'm a great encourager, got to find a way to empower others to do the same, and to be a listener, and to be a good friend, and to be supportive, and be an advocate. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's value in that, in encouraging others, and also we have to continuously push down that narrative or destroy that narrative that we have to draw well or paint well to be creative. I think all of us are creative. Every day we make creative decisions. It's just being introspective and kind of understanding what those decisions are, and be like, oh wow, that was a creative decision. Like, even the way you drive is kind of a creative decision. The way you maneuver through traffic, things like that. The kind of birds you might flip at people, those are all creative decisions. The way you walk, a lot of people don't think about this, but the way you walk is a creative thing, right? You look at actors and the way they portray characters in film, they have to get the walk right. Like, there's a certain way that, you said Elon Musk, he walks or he talks, right? We do creative things all the time. We're creative beings. So that's really cool. But yeah, I would love to see you on a podcast. This is not an ad for Anchor, but it is an ad for Anchor. Anchor.fm is the best podcasting platform in the world. You should join it. It's absolutely free, and you can easily monetize, and they have an app where you can record on your phone. So just FYI.
I love it. Thank you, sis.
No problem, Lejone. But yeah, last question: is there anything else you want to plug at this moment? Just plug all the things right now.
Right now, I just wanted to tell people to just use your voice. Definitely use your voice and use your own platform. Understand that you have influence. Biggest thing on my heart right now is vote.
Yeah.
Make your voice heard. I don't care, honestly, just vote. Yeah. People died for the right for you to be able to exercise that right.
That's true.
Freedom,
That's true.
So just use it. Don't be apathetic. Yeah. Again, how we show up, what we do and what we don't do matters. And it affects everyone. And so from you all using your platform to give others a chance to be able to speak to others, it's important. It's all important. So yeah, please just use your influence, no matter how small or big you think it might be.
That's powerful. Yeah, that's so true. And yeah, I definitely agree. We got to vote this November. We got to vote. We usually talk about politics. Well, if you're able to vote, please vote. That's it. We don't have to get more political than that. Just use the power that's been given to you. And we just want to make sure too. So it's brokenbeautiful.com or bu.com.
Broken, then BEYOU, Beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Broken beautiful. Oh, okay. Got you. BrokenBeautiful.com. And then Instagram.com/ is it Broken Beautiful as well, or is it Broken?
Yeah, the same BEYOU.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very cool. And Michelle, is there any last words you want to?
Last words. I wanted to ask one more question about just being, okay, I don't know if I'm saying the word right, femtrepreneur. Is that the first time saying that? But just being a Black female entrepreneur, that's the same thing, right? As femtrepreneur.
It is.
Okay. But what is it like for you just in the social climate that we're in right now? And do you find there's any struggles, or is there anything that you would want to tell other Black female entrepreneurs that are trying to start their own business right now as well?
Yeah, it's a really empowering time. I know when I first started out, I did like a business boot camp. Dr. Carrie Yazid, who she's a beauty brains in business. People know that I'm really big on like Black owned and supporting my people. And so, and Khalila Wright, Mess in a Bottle, she's kind of like my inspiration. She's also Jamaican. Her business, her t-shirt business, came out of the social unrest 4 years ago. And so she's doing phenomenally well, but also being authentic, like, in her space. And it's good to see someone thriving. She has multiple businesses, and so when I saw all of that, different boot camps and classes and this that I did, I recognized I'm like, this is such a great opportunity. Like, again, back to like waking up. I didn't have to wait for the 9-to-5 paycheck and for someone to employ me.
That's true.
I employ myself. I worked so hard for other people. I'm like, I'm not gonna slack off for myself. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah.
It's like, no, I'm gonna work just as hard, even harder, right? Because this is my own baby. And so the women that I've talked to, especially, not only Black women, but minority women that have been thinking about, running their own business for a while, I say, just do it. Really just do it. There's one thing that I continue to hear: you'll never have enough time, money, support, all the resources you want are not going to be there, but accomplishing anything just means taking one step at a time. This time right now that we're in is perfect time because everyone's like, buy Black owned. We don't know how long this is going to last. To be quite honest, like, support Black businesses. It may just be a trend.
Yeah.
I read this morning that, to Freddie Gray, Mike Brown passed away 6 years ago.
Yeah, Michael Brown,
6 years. And then now we're dealing with a whole new set of like, uprisings and killings. And so things go in cycles.
Yeah.
Time is going to pass, but what are you going to do with that time? And so
Right.
strike while the iron is hot. You got an idea, there are resources out there. I know a lot of times I know personally can feel very lonely, like, what should my next step be? But there are resources and there are support. It's just about finding, like, your right tribe, not being afraid to ask a lot of questions, and to really just be hungry enough to reach out and do your homework and do your research, because there's so many. The network is just really expansive, but it's important to find what works best for you and what you're trying to do.
So true. Well, thank you so much for that, and just for, again, sharing with us your message and your purpose with Broken Beautiful. And you're so right. You have to find your tribe, take the next step. And if any of us that are out there, Musty Collective, I know we talk about becoming better storytellers, and obviously Lejeune is telling better stories through fashion and telling other people's stories and the marginalized out there as well. But if you want to take that next step, just find a mentor or a life coach. Reach out to us. I'm pretty sure Lejeune, if you reach out to her, through DM or something, or reach out to us through DM. And then just ask us a question, and we can help guide you at least to the next step. And just take it and don't be afraid. And Lejeune, thank you again so much for being on this podcast, the Musty Creative Podcast. We thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day. And everyone, please check out Instagram.com/BrokenBeautiful or BrokenBeautiful.com or
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay, we'll have to spell it. We'll put it in the show notes, but everyone check it out. Buy some merch. I'm gonna buy a shirt. And Lejone, you know the shirt, the custom shirt that I would like to have, or if we can get that shirt, I really would appreciate it.
Your wife and one for you.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast. You have a great day.
Thanks for having me. You have an awesome day. A beautiful day.
Yes.
A beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.